the head of Pfizer. This is again, you want to look at this. I always look when we get these guys who are literally responsible for these vaccines, the quadruple vaxxed. He's had 4 vaccinations. The CEO of Pfizer had this to say this afternoon. He got COVID.
Yeah.
He said Albert Bourla is experiencing very mild symptoms, and he tweeted about it. He tweeted, he said, "We've come so far in our efforts to battle this disease that I'm confident I will have a speedy recovery."
And he's being treated with Paxlovid, which is only approved for emergency use, and he's only 60. And he's having, who makes Paxlovid? His company does, right? So is this like...
See, I'm doing it too.
Interesting question. Yeah.
4 vaccines, and he gets COVID, right? So maybe we know why he got COVID, thanks to a new study that's out today out of Iceland. Take a look at this. A new Iceland study shows that COVID reinfection rates rise with the number of vaccine doses, is the headline. This is a story. The new Icelandic study shows the reinfection rate in Iceland. And I'll put these charts up here on the screen. The new research letter published this early August in the Journal of the American Medical Association Network Open. The letter describes the result of a study which monitored for reinfection all Icelanders previously infected during the Omicron wave between December 1st and February 22nd of 2022. The study shows a probability of reinfection up to 15% among 18 and 29-year-olds, declining with age. Reinfection is not surprising considering the reinfection rates seen around the world after the appearance of Omicron, though the authors expected a lower rate. But the interesting part is the comparison by vaccination status. It shows that for most age groups, those who have received 2 doses or more are more likely to become reinfected than those who have received no vaccines or 1 dose, according to this new research paper published in the Journal of the American Medical Association.
Well, I see the comments in the chat room right now because there are rumors online that the CEO of Pfizer was never vaccinated because there was a story that went around, I think last year, that he had to cancel a trip because he didn't meet the vaccine requirements for this trip. Do you know this story?
Yes.
And I think that the most recent reporting on that is because he was in between his first and second dose and needed a full vaccine to take this trip. I don't know, right? But this is the theory out there that he actually was not vaccinated, but he is now saying, yes, I am quadruple vaccinated, and now he's got it.
Quadruple vaccinated and now on Paxlovid. And again, but add that all into this Icelandic study, people who don't have any of them and have a less likelihood of actually getting it. So I don't know. It's interesting to see. And what, Dr. Peter McCullough's point is we're going to start to see a lot more information about the genetic. We're going to see. It's so hard to, we got to be very careful here. But,
Well, right now on Twitter, Nuremberg 2 is trending.
Nuremberg 2.
In relationship to this story, because not the Pfizer CEO, but this story about the mRNA, because people are saying we deserve real trials about the rollout of the vaccine, the execution of the pandemic, all of these things. We know we're not getting the real story. We know that there are bigger looming questions. We are all collectively pissed off about it. And we do want to see, maybe sort of an extreme use of that word, or maybe not. I don't know.
No, we deserve answers, right? We deserve answers, and we need to rise up, and we need to demand these answers from our elected leaders and our unelected leaders. I mean, hell, we have people like the World Health Organization running the show. These globalists, these unelected globalists who are, who we've handed over authority in these governments to. So the United States, EU, we've handed over the rights and government authority, our freedoms to these people to guide us and tell us, and to, and they get to control this narrative, and it's unbelievable. And Dr. Peter McCullough, pointed out things are going to really become troubling once we can't hide this this body count anymore. When we start to find out more and more and more details start to come out. We've been reporting it in our newsletter. We can't talk all about it here, unfortunately. But if you go to our newsletter, redacted.inc, we were covering the stories out of Australia. We were covering the stories about coffins being ordered I can't go into details about it all, but sadly, really, really troubling stuff. And you talk to undertakers at different funeral homes. They're being silenced. They're being silenced on social media, and they're telling you what they're seeing at their own funeral home. Oh, that's misinformation. No, it's not. It's at their own funeral home, and multiple funeral directors are coming forward now. What they're seeing in young people.
In fact, I saw a mainstream news report in Australia just today where the news media was reporting that the government of Australia overreported COVID deaths. And they said that most what we've been saying, what David says all the time. David, I don't know if you're here to talk to us or not, but that people who die with COVID are not the same as people who die of COVID. And in fact, of all of these deaths in Australia, they show that only 18 were people who died of COVID versus the government's reporting of thousands who died with COVID.
Right, like COVID, or morbidities, right?
Not even necessarily of comorbidities complicated by COVID, but actually like people who just happened to have it when they died of something else, not necessarily even a complication, right? So I think we are going to see, now that there is at least some mainstream media willing to, I haven't seen American media do this, but willing to ask these questions and look deeper into this data, it is a sign of a crack in the pavement, crack in the, what is the saying? A crack in the armor.
A chink in the armor. I think a chink in the armor.
A crack in the,
a crack in the pavement.
In the breastplate, in the cod piece.
In the cod piece. Don't touch my cod piece. Hands off my cod piece.